Don't even think about getting help for your relationship until you watch this video. I'll explain why in a minute. Hi, my name is Morgan, and in this short video, you're going to learn why traditional counseling is not working, and you'll discover what hundreds of very smart couples and individuals like yourself have done to save their relationship, and how you can avoid the mistakes that other couples have made that have destroyed their marriage and caused them to lose their family forever. The next few minutes will save you decades of pain and will help you regain your sense of self-worth and a renewed hope in your relationship. If you watch until the end, I'll share with you the number one reason couples never feel close, and I'll give you the secret to real, lasting intimacy in your relationship. But that's not until the end, so stay focused. Don't let anything come between you and the happiness of your relationship. Put away your phone, your Facebook, and any other distractions. This is going to rock your world. But first, you deserve an apology. You deserve an apology for the sorry advice that's out there. One big reason couples don't get the help they deserve is because there's so much bad advice out there. Why is there so much bad advice, you ask? Well, therapists and coaches do not focus. They see kids, teenagers, 10 different individual issues, and then stick 2 people in a room and call it couples counseling. They believe that since their license or certification technically allows them to see anyone they think they could help, they can and should just do all things psychological. But many times they waste your valuable time, emotional energy, and money figuring it out as they go along. Don't get me wrong, they often truly want to help and have good hearts, but when you examine their track record, there's no evidence that what they're doing works. But many therapists and coaches actually are hurting people. Counseling just turns into the blame game or a round of let's find the problem. I don't know about you, but you want to go to counseling to feel better, not worse, right? One of my goals in this video is to arm you with what you need to find the right help. Let me draw you a picture to illustrate what I'm trying to say. Imagine this is you. You learn that you need open heart surgery. So you go to a specialist. You ask the doc, "Can you help me?" He says, "Sure. I do heart surgery on Mondays. I'm a chiropractor on Tuesdays and an OBGYN on Wednesdays. Thursdays, I'm a podiatrist. And my title at the animal hospital is Chief Internist when I'm there on Fridays." If this is what you found when you went to a medical specialist, you'd run for the hills, right? Anyone with half a brain would never let them crack you open. Unfortunately, that's what's happening in the counseling profession today. So why should we let any unproven, untrained, unmonitored counselor, coach, pastor, random blogger, divorced friend, or well-meaning whoever have their way with the most important relationship of your life? This is the biggest reason why traditional counseling has not worked. Therapists and coaches don't know what they don't know. You would think that after 20 years of practicing that a therapist would have more skill. But the second law of thermodynamics states everything is in a constant state of decay. So, if a therapist is not constantly learning and keeping up with the latest and greatest, they're falling behind, and you and your relationship suffer for it. It's true for all things: money, our bodies, technology. If we stop learning and we don't practice a skill, we naturally lose it, right? Dr. Sue Johnson, a leading marital researcher and author of the book Hold Me Tight, states, 70% of counselors say they do couples counseling, but only 17% have any couples therapy training outside of a single class. Sad, isn't it? But with the right help, you can have the most amazing relationship, and I'll show you how. Another big reason couples don't get the help they deserve is they don't plan for it. Many don't know how to plan for couples counseling or even when or where to look for it. Sadly, it can be difficult to know if the help you're getting is actually helping or hurting. Unfortunately, many believe that couples counseling is where relationships go to die. Some people think they're admitting defeat. This is so far from true. Most couples realize that premarital counseling is necessary because when you're getting married for the first time, you either know you're clueless or the pastor is smart enough not to marry you until he knows you're ready. But the first time you experience a fight, a major life event happens like a death or a loss of a job, the first time you think about divorce, even casually, or you just stop feeling close. Somehow, people think they're supposed to magically know how to handle these situations. Fortunately, there's good news. You can't possibly know everything. If you think about it, most of us never had well-adjusted families, which means we never really had good relationship role models. Some of us never had a close friend or someone who loved us unconditionally, or someone who really cared about us growing up, or made us feel loved. We've experienced hurts and pain. Most of us wonder if they get to know me, the real me, or the things I've done, would they still love me? Most everyone wonders if we go to counseling, will they tell me I'm the problem? Will my fears be proven true? Will I learn that they don't love me anymore? Or worse, they never loved me. I have more good news. Most people discover that their spouse feels just like they do. They too are afraid just like you. They too are hurting and feel lost and alone. But this may not be news to you. You may actually hear this from them all the time. But I would wager and guess that you have no idea how to fix what's really wrong in your relationship. Let me ask you a question. What would it be like to be able to turn towards each other, to feel cared for, to feel wanted and loved by the most important person in your life? You finally understand them, and they finally understand you. You get past the criticism, the defensiveness, the anger, the dreadful silence, and the avoidance. You see into their inner world in ways you never thought possible. What if, when you stepped into their world, you learned something amazing? What if you found they actually share the same hopes, the same desires, the same fears? What if you found they were just as afraid and lonely as you are? If all you found was the emotional intimacy that you've been missing, wouldn't you do what it takes to get there? If all you did was rediscover the romance, wouldn't you try just about anything? With the right questions and knowledge of what's available, you can make the best decision for you and your relationship. That's right, no more guessing, no more fighting, and no more feeling afraid to talk about what's important. You'll begin to communicate, trust, and feel close again. And it won't take years. In fact, 75 to 80% of our couples heal their relationship in just 15 to 20 hours. That's right, in just a few short weeks, you can reclaim your life. Plus, no one will ever have to know you were ever here or that you ever had problems at all. Unless you're like this couple, and you want to shout about your freedom from the rooftop.
Hello, Brad Morgan. We just want to send you this video.
Let you know how we're doing.
Yeah. Kind of start off with a little over a year ago, I came out and told my wife that I was having affairs. It started about 4 or 5 years before, and we were struggling in our marriage at that point. And
2 young kiddos.
Yes, and
a stressful job, and not good communication.
Almost no communication.
Yeah, at times, yeah.
Yes. We were recommended Marriage Solutions through our church.
And a family friend.
And a family friend,
yep.
Yes. So one thing we've learned through marriage counseling here, a couple things. one thing that happened in our marriage before this was no communication.
Bottling up emotions.
Bottling up emotions, not talking about how we felt.
Not letting the other person know exactly how they felt, what was going on, or how to communicate it well.
Even listening. As a man, as emotionally focused therapy has learned how to communicate with my wife, how to talk and let her know what's on my mind and in my heart, so that we're able to make a bond. I mean, better than thought possible. So.
And it helps to go through and have somebody to talk to and learn from, and to experience all the teaching and information that you get. Like whenever Brad talks about a negative cycle, you might look at him like he's insane, but you really start picking up on what he means. And through some of his audio, you get to listen to the steps after you find out about the affair, like what happens, what you're experiencing, like you're not crazy. And I think you even might mention that in a couple of them, like, don't think you're crazy. So hang in there, because what you learn, it seems kind of crazy, or you think you're crazy, but then once you really listen and take it to heart, and especially when you have two people listening and really trying to change and just get past things, it helps. And you might have to listen to things over and over, you might have to be told things over and over sometimes, but hang in there, because 5 years ago, our marriage at that time, right before the affairs, I would say it was just, life was kind of going. I was the caretaker for the kids that turned into the caretaker for the family, and you were the caretaker in regards to finances, and
it was very mediocre.
Yeah.
But one thing I do have to say about Marriage Solutions is they found a light at the end of the tunnel. They were able to show us that there is hope, that there is healing,
Mm-hmm.
that all is not lost. That was one of our biggest fears, has other couples, made it through this? And we're here to tell you today that, yes,
we made it. Yes. A mediocre marriage that, ended with multiple affairs, and, viewing your spouse differently, and just not being home or not being mentally there. There's a lot. Everyone's different. Every affair is different. Every relationship is different. And it just being the one that was hurt from that side, if your spouse is coming out and talking to you and letting you know, part of you wants to say, how dare you let me know what happened? You just want to be like, I didn't want to know this. But the other part is, you need to know, because you need to know who they were, so you can see who they really were. Then you can turn around and see who they really are now. So that's the great part about getting through this, and really being able to look back and be like, wow, there is a change, and you're going to notice it, and you're going to feel it, and it makes it safe again, and it makes it loving again, and it makes you feel like you can do this.
And Brad was able to tap into our thoughts, emotions, to help us really get out a lot of past issues that weren't dealt with as a young couple. Even then, granted, if you're an older couple, still, this program has brought light upon so many things for our marriage that, his materials, a lot of the homework we got, and just the...
Try to do your homework. we didn't always do it, but we're working on it. We definitely took notes.
But his approach with the emotionally focused approach makes a big difference. It actually lets you see what your spouse is really feeling. It lets you see the depths in their eyes, their face, their body language, and it shows the seriousness behind what they're saying. It actually starts a trust bond again. It lets you know that they're human.
Yeah.
It works. So one of the compliments to Marriage Solutions is that route on how they approach healing in an affair. So.
And we're doing really good. We're
We
doing
are.
good now. There's still, thoughts here and there, days here and there, but we know how to work through it now. We know how to not follow what we did in the past and what to do now.
Right. We can detect a negative cycle before it starts almost. I mean,
if you've not started the program, you'll know what I mean.
I do want to say thank you, Brad, and Marriage Solutions. It's made a big difference for us. Gosh, put your heart into it. Know that your marriage is not lost. This is only the first step of the beginning of the rest of your lives. And Marriage Solutions and Brad's here to help you guide through that healing. And don't give up. It's not lost. It's the beginning of the rest of your life.
Would you like to know how to reclaim your relationship? I'll share it with you, but I have to admit that accomplishing what I'm about to share is not easy. It's not free, but when you understand it, your life will never be the same. The secret I'm about to share with you is what we've done to help hundreds of couples strengthen, rebuild, and heal their relationship, even if there were issues they believed were impossible to recover from. Maybe there's been infidelity, broken trust, communication problems, lack of intimacy. You're preparing for marriage, or your partner's left. We've helped hundreds of couples in the Tulsa area, even if it seems hopeless. They've left you, or they've given up, or you've tried everything under the sun, and you're at your wit's end. Before you call it quits, come see us. We're the only group private practice in the tri-state area exclusively devoted to helping couples and individuals with relationship issues. This is all we do. We are 100% committed to helping relationships 100% of the time. Also, we're the best reviewed couples therapists in the state of Oklahoma. You might be surprised to know 30% of our couples have been to 2 or more therapists before coming to us. It never fails. They tell us every time they wish they had done counseling right the first time. Earlier, I said that many therapists don't have a successful track record. Based on our track record and the research published about the methods we use, 86 to 90% of our couples make significant improvement. That means they feel close emotionally and have achieved their goals in counseling. We have a proven track record. We also know that 90% of couples maintain their improvement even 3 years after they finish counseling with the methods we use. So couples routinely get better and stay better. This means you don't fall back into your old patterns and habits. Speaking of patterns, I promised at the beginning of this video to share the number 1 reason couples never feel close. So here it is. Brace yourself. The number 1 reason you never feel close is because of the rigid patterns of interaction you get caught in. Let me explain. Because couples don't feel close, they get caught in negative cycles of arguing or avoiding. It's important to feel close emotionally because that means we feel like we can depend on each other and we feel safe. Psychologists now know that emotion moves 2.5 times faster than any thought or action. So we feel long before we think or do anything, including communicate verbally. That's right, good communication alone does not fix a relationship. Good communication is rather a means to reach an emotional connection and is not the key to a good relationship. Research shows a strong emotional connection is actually how couples change for the better and grow closer over time. So, there are 2 types of emotion: primary emotion and secondary emotion. Primary emotion is feeling hurt, sad, afraid, or not good enough. Secondary emotion is anger, defensiveness, criticism. It's shutting down, avoiding, pulling away, or getting quiet. In other words, secondary emotion is our defense, and primary emotion are those raw, deeper emotions, those feelings underneath. Often, we feel primary, but we act secondary. Something triggers a feeling of sadness, hurt, or fear, but we don't know how to share that. We don't feel safe to share that. And we're told that if we share our hurt, fear, or sadness, then somehow we're weak. So our partner never sees the real feelings. They only see the anger or shutting down. So they too will feel primary, but they act secondary. That leaves couples never having the chance to experience each other at a deeper emotional level. Over time, the emotional connection fades. They begin to argue more or avoid more, and slowly they grow more distant. They can't heal from injuries to their relationship because they're stuck in this negative cycle. So, part of how we help our couples is we help you identify where you're getting stuck and help you to break out of that negative cycle that keeps you stuck feeling distant, so you can feel close again, and so you can rediscover the intimacy you once had. This is what the smartest couples are doing to save their marriage, and in turn, they're saving their families and preventing decades of pain and heartache for themselves. The smartest couples are getting the right help, and they plan to come to counseling at every stage in their relationship. They aren't afraid to give a good counselor a try. They aren't afraid to seek guidance from time to time. Okay, has this helped? Have you found this to be true for you? How would you like us to personally help you with your relationship? If you would like to know more about how you can work with us, click the button below and watch the next video. To learn more about how you can take your relationship from good to great today, click the button below and let's get started.